Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. My name is Silky Feather and you can call me Silky. Amongst my deliveries today, I have been sorting. So please excuse the messy mow behind me. I'm done sorting for the moment. My phone went off. This was just announced by me, Kevin. So I wanted to hop on it and make sure I can get the news out to you guys. Alrighty. Fed just demanded more stimulus, another bailout, and $600 a week. I'm assuming that's for the unemployment peeps. Here we go.
Hey everyone, me Kevin here with news from the White House and Federal Reserve and the stock market. Let's get right into it. By the way, Lauren posted a reaction video to a 19-year-old's remodel. Check it out if you're at all interested in real estate or remodeling. It's really good. And of course, make sure to get your life insurance in the link below. Here we go. Larry Kudlow just told CNBC that he's watching the numbers very closely. And he actually agrees that closing down and slowing down where necessary is a good idea. Remember, Larry Kudlow is the director of the National Economic Council, and he's kind of like the only economic guy left that talks to the public in the White House. So what he says is very important. He actually reminded us to remember to wear masks and practice social distancing. However, the important stuff comes from when he goes on to say that today we're in a different place than we were in March. In other words, he doesn't think that now is as bad as what things were like in March and April, mostly because now we understand what we're up against. And because of that, he reiterated when it comes to stimulus that the main goals of the White House are to get people re-employed. And he wants to see a boost given for re-employment. This is just, in other words, saying a back-to-work boost. He went on to complain that basically the White House is fielding numerous and constant complaints from businesses that it's hard for businesses to rehire people because of the $600 back-to-work boost. Now, we know that the White House has had numerous roundtable discussions with leaders of the restaurant industry and other industries, and so it's quite possible that the leaders or CEOs of sort of the restaurant industries and businesses, as well as the hospitality sectors, are some of the people basically going to the White House going, dude, the $600 unemployment check is too much. So maybe it's actually not Congress or the leaders, maybe it's the businesses that are the ones complaining about this. And see, to me, that's personally really interesting because I do believe a lot of us want to go back to normal. We're sick of being stuck at home. At least I know I am, and this room is still freezing. It actually became colder. I gotta turn this thing off. Anyway, Larry Kudlow went on to reiterate that things look good for a V, and because of that, they want to issue some sort of a re-employment incentive. And this is really in contrast with what the Federal Reserve says, because the Federal Reserve, whose update we're going to get into in a moment, is gung-ho about continuing the $600 per week stimulus for unemployment. Now, Larry Kudlow wraps up his discussion by saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, there might be some people basically leaving the White House's economic team, and yeah, there might be gossip and rumors over what's going on in the White House, but the bottom line that he continues to reiterate is the president wants to see a payroll tax cut, which will help individual workers take home around 6.5% to 7.5% more, approximately, money every single time they get paid. We personally have talked on this channel that that's not super useful for people who don't make a lot of money. It might be more useful for somebody who makes $100,000 than for somebody making $20,000 or $30,000, when in reality, people making $20,000 to $30,000 are the ones who probably need the most help. So a little bit of a mismatch there, so to speak. But in terms of the $600 boost, he did double down on this idea of having some sort of back-to-work incentive rather than a full $600 unemployment check per week. This update, by the way, is in stark contrast to the Federal Reserve, and we now have an update from the Federal Reserve, which Sarah Eisen put very well, because Sarah Eisen said, quote, the more downbeat Jerome Powell is, the more stimulus flows. I love that line because I honestly think she is right on. Jerome Powell seems to be the man cheering for the American people, continuously pushing Congress to issue more stimulus to businesses, the people, and our communities, which is huge. Now, we're going to go ahead and pull up exactly what Jerome Powell said tomorrow, which if you think that I could see the future, That's because I can. Okay, I'm just kidding. I really just want you to get 2 free stocks with Webull, and that's what I see in the future, is you getting 2 free stocks worth up to $1,400 when you deposit $100. The reality is Jerome Powell did publish his speech for tomorrow in advance. So here's a summary of what Jerome Powell's speech is, which he plans to give tomorrow. And we get this information today. Jerome Powell starts by demanding that Congress remain grateful to our healthcare professionals and our essential workers. And this is a really good reminder because realistically, we're not hearing enough support for our healthcare professionals and essential workers. We really want to see more of that hero's pay, especially during the tremendous strain that we're seeing now, as Jerome Powell says. This is a very good reminder. He also says that the CARES Act has made a critical difference in not just helping families and businesses, but also limiting long-lasting damage to our economy. That's very, very good. We want him. Remember, he is the cheerleader for us in Congress going, hey, the stimulus was good. More stimulus would also be good. And he goes on to reiterate that 20 million Americans have lost their jobs because of this pandemic. And this joblessness especially hurts lower wage workers. This is a reminder to Congress. Please keep that $600 per week alive. But there's a very clear tug of war between Larry Kudlow at the White House, who's trying to essentially represent the business interests, and the businesses are saying, like, it's hard for us to rehire people. And on the flip side, here we have Jerome Powell going, the people are suffering, especially people who do not make a lot of money. Sarah Eisen, by the way, jokes that Jerome Powell's new favorite word is uncertainty, and that's because Jerome Powell goes on to say that the future, the path forward, is extraordinarily uncertain, and that the path forward will rely substantially on the success of our ability to contain the virus. That a full recovery ultimately is unlikely until the people feel confident that it is safe to re-engage in a broad range of activities. He also went on to say that we face new challenges because of this reopening. Fortunately, the reopening is happening sooner than expected. But these are some very clear indicators that, again, Jerome Powell is going to Congress as a cheerleader for us and for Congress to continue to issue more stimulus. After Jerome Powell's speech tomorrow, he will be answering questions, which I intend on analyzing the questions and answers that he goes through with Congress. Remember, this is the last week Congress is in session before their recess. And keep in mind that just because they're going on recess to go play on the swing sets does not mean that they're not doing anything. They might be chilling on the swing sets and on the teeter-totter, but hopefully Mitch and Nancy will actually be able to have discussions with each other and make plans for what they're actually going to hammer out when they come back. So even though they'll be on recess, it's not really a vacation, although it certainly feels like they're going on vacation and leaving us behind. Hopefully they will be talking progress about all of the data that they got this week. Good thing at least we have the Fed cheering them on to, well, at least provide us more stimulus. Now, Donald Trump does appear to be slamming China a little bit. The Commerce Department just issued a statement revoking Hong Kong's preferential trading status, which is a direct slam on China's move into the what's supposed to be relatively independent region of Hong Kong. This does, again, continue to increase the risk of a trade war, which anytime we have a trade war, we see negativity in the markets, particularly the stock market. Now, the good news is real estate continues to defy expectations, which is absolutely mind-blowing because, as many of you know, 90% of my investments are in real estate. As much as I love talking about stocks and stock market drama, there's nothing better than being able to guarantee myself wealth by buying real estate below market value. I did a YouTube video that YouTube, of course, didn't share with many of you because the real estate content doesn't get shared a lot. So if you want to see more about that video, click the link up here or up here. I'll put it down in the description as well. And it shows you how I turn $10,500 into essentially $200,000 in under 90 days. So take a look at that video. In regards to real estate, though, pending home sales numbers were up way crazy in May. Pending home sales were up 44.3%, way higher than expectations. And this is like, what kind of recession are we in? This is like so weird because the data does come in very strong. Seems like a lot of buyers are swooping in, taking advantage of substantially lower than normal interest rates, which makes good deals even better right now. Also, the Federal Reserve literally just bailed out the stock market again. The Federal Reserve, and they've announced this in the past, but they've literally just pulled the trigger on buying things. So I'm going to tell you what they bought. The Federal Reserve just spent almost $500 million buying debt in its first wave of data that they released on Sunday, breaking down what they spent the money on. They spent, just for example, they spent $16.4 million on AT&T bonds, $7.6 on Boeing debt, $6.6 million on Coca-Cola debt, $5.1 million on Exxon debt, ExxonMobil, the gas station, $7.9 million on Ford, $8.7 million on Walmart, and this, seriously, $6.2 million on Philip Morris, the cigarette manufacturer. And in addition to these sort of individual bailout buys, the Fed now owns over 6.8 billion, not million like the numbers I was just reading up, billion in corporate debt exchange traded funds, aka bond funds. Wow, and there we go. That's why the stock market just goes up. Like, I honestly was expecting this week to not be very good in the stock market because, well, the coronavirus data is spiking like crazy and everything keeps going up. But no, the Federal Reserve's got to come in and bail everything out. Now, at this point, I figure, why not double down a little bit on our good old Dave & Buster's? This is the Webull app, which I highly encourage you use because it is currently 3:36 p.m. California time, which means the market has been closed for over 2.5 hours.
Couldn't move my picture. Hold on, I'm so sorry.
I'm going to go and execute a trade here. Let's go ahead. How much do we want to buy? Let's see. I'm going to go, how about we buy $3,700 of Dave & Buster's right now. I know that's a lot, but I am going to buy a little bit, and I know it's a green day, but this stock has been so hammered down. It is so below my targets. I don't mind adding a little bit more to the position. So we're going to grab $3,719 right now. Let's go ahead and bump the limit price a little bit just to make sure that this gets filled. We've got extended hours on. Good to cancel. Good. We'll hit the buy button here. There we go. Order is through, and it's already been filled. That's awesome. So there you go. There's just an example of how an after-hours order got filled instantly while I was filming here, which is kind of cool. You can see the timestamp there, 6:37 p.m. Eastern Time. But anyway, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching this update on the Fed, the White House, and, well, the markets, because...
Yes, thank you once again. Because, you know, we bring you some crazy news. He brings you the news. I just bring it along. Help it down another little valley of information. Gotta go back to sorting. My store opens up next weekend. Brick and mortar store. Wish me luck, guys. Reopening. Bad times. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Thank you. Like, subscribe, and share. This is Silky Feather, signing off.